Mike Moore Media.
Hello, friends. Today we're here to discuss community treasures and hidden gems in Rockingham County. My name is Lyle Milligan, and we just want to thank Mike Moore Media for providing the studio to do this important podcast where we let everyone know about the community treasures and hidden gems right here in Rockingham County. Today we'll be talking with George and an organization dealing with human trafficking, and it's called Project Lost Sheep. And their tagline is live for the light and devour the darkness. So welcome, George. We are so glad that you're with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is a really important topic, and I appreciate your invitation this morning.
Great. An interesting title, Project Lost Sheep. What is Project Lost Sheep?
Well, Project Lost Sheep is a nonprofit organization that, as our tagline is, seeks to devour the darkness of human trafficking with a focus of rescuing victims from sex trafficking with a specific focus on children under the age of 18.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, I'm really not very well educated on this particular topic, so I just got to ask, is there a problem in Rockingham County with human trafficking?
Yes, there is a problem. The bottom line is it's a human condition, not necessarily, geographic. Any place you have people, you've got the human condition that the Bible talks about, but it's everywhere the people are. And there's active areas occurring in Rockingham County even today that are problematic.
Oh, my. So what are some statistics about that? I looked at your website and I saw a couple of things, but I'm just wondering, is there information like from a national standpoint and then all the way to the local?
Yes, there's a number of places to get statistics. It's difficult to get exact numbers because it all happens in the shadows.
Of course.
And so it's not really forthcoming. The bottom line is human trafficking is evil. It's a crime that happens all around us. But we get our statistics. There are limited county statistics that we get from law enforcement. The state has limited number of statistics, and at the federal level, they have some statistics that are pretty consistent that across the county where the higher concentrations of people are, that's where we're going to find these problems and children needing rescue.
I see. So when you talk about children being trafficked, what's the average age of someone who's trafficked?
This is really bothersome to me. But the average age of victims that are forced and recruited into trafficking is 12 years old.
Oh, my.
12 years old.
And I guess, again, I'm just kind of shocked at that number. Where do they find 12-year-olds to traffic?
Well, they come from a number of different places. One is, just you think of 12-year-olds in general. If you do kind of some of the breakdown of state metrics, it turns out that about out of every 10 children in this area, 2 of them are male and 8 of them are female.
Oh, my.
And, yeah, it's devastating. And so that's, well, it's a tragedy, and that's what we're trying to work on and solve.
Sure.
So I'm sorry, the rest of the second half of your question I passed me.
So how could someone like me that doesn't have a clue become involved with or more aware, maybe is a better word, in human trafficking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, thank you. So the way we become more involved is understanding that it's all around us, and that the people you see around you could be involved in this kind of tragedy. You had mentioned how do the children get involved in this, and it comes through physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal, mental, psychological abuse. Children coming from broken homes, the statistics of homes without fathers in them make these children super at high risk of being forced into this industry. And so the way we become aware of it is understanding we have a lot of misconceptions. A lot of times the lives that we live, because this isn't part of our daily life,
Right.
it kind of passes by. So there are stereotypes, and then we'll see someone who looks desperate. We'll see someone in that's awkward, and we just think it's best to ignore it and move on, when it might be a victim involved in there. And so knowing what to look for, understanding some of the signs of a victim, and being able to provide realistic, relative information will kind of help rescue these children.
Wow. So what would be, number one, where could we find some information on the signs, if you will? And number two, what might be a couple of things that would maybe pique our attention and help us to know that there's something nefarious going on?
One of the things is, one thing that I do just in general, because I try and be a kind person, is because I tell people when I meet with them and stuff, I'll move out of the way for them and stuff. And I said, well, if we're not kind to one another, nobody else will be.
Right.
And it tends to be kind of a binary decision point for the other person to see whether they're going to engage in some kindness that I just showed or not. And so people being shy and reserved and to themselves, children with missing school, and other forms of just staying remote can indicate that there's a victim there. Sometimes the children are easily angered because they know that participating in any kind of conversation that they've been taught was forbidden could bring abuse of some kind to them. And so understanding what you're looking at when you're dealing with people and how open and stuff that they are is a good way to indicate that there might be a victim there.
Wow. It's just what should I do, or better yet, what should we do if we encounter a victim and we think that maybe someone might be a victim in a restaurant or a Kmart or Walmart or whatever?
Yeah, that's a real challenge of what to do, because what you want to do is to be accurate in what you're saying.
Correct.
So doing your own self-education on what victims look like. Mm-hmm. And then knowing that when you interact with people, being sensitive to the kind of answers that they give. You know, an example might be that you ask somebody, oh, did you fall down? They say, yeah, I fell down. I hit the door and it bruised my face, or something like that. Mm-hmm. As they try to lightly explain away physical damage you see on them, scars and bruises and things like that. Mm-hmm. So one thing to do would be to try and you want to make sure that you don't provoke more hurt on the child.
Of course.
And so the best thing you can do is gather as much information as possible about the victim, any adults that are with them, and do the adults look like they're engaged with the child without having to endanger yourself. Sure. And then your local law enforcement and report, or you can go to the Lost Sheep website and drop a tip there as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Just really interesting things. I did see a quote on your website that says, going into the darkest places against the most evil of mankind to rescue the captive. What does that mean?
There are many things that similarities involved in rescuing, as far as having everything lined up and planned down to the T. So it just doesn't stop with a victim being rescued. Excuse me. You got to go ahead and care for the victim, and then look at the environment that you extracted them from. And there's a long road of rehabilitation, because not only are their bodies damaged, their brains are damaged, and their heart and their love of their receptiveness to God's love is also damaged. And so there's a multi-layered brokenness that you have to go back to and address. So it can be really quick to take them out, or in general it'll take months or years to provide any effective kind of healing that they have.
Sure.
So there's always risk to any of the rescues that they have. So they plan and try and be prepared for all the risks and try and support the individual as best as they can.
Right. So how involved is maybe law enforcement with a rescue, or is that something y'all do kind of on your own, or?
Well, it's best to work with law enforcement because not only is there a sheep to rescue, a lamb, one of God's lambs to rescue,
Mm-hmm.
there's also additional criminal activity that can help tear down the institution
I see.
that was abusive to them. And so providing information or sharing that information and working with the state and local law enforcement is beneficial, not just to this individual, but to the industry itself to try and take it down.
Wow. So I see, again, another statistic as I was looking around. It said that the average lifespan of someone who is trafficked is 7 years. So if a child's 12, they're not even going to reach adulthood at 21, if that's the situation.
Yeah, and that's very troubling to me as a father.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so have such disregard for the sanctity of life
Mm-hmm.
that drug addictions, abuse, neglect, or worse
Mm-hmm.
is perpetuated on these children.
Wow. Well, we're getting close on time here, George. Human Trafficking Awareness Dinner and Presentation at Lawsonville Road Baptist Church on Highway 158 here in Reedsville will be Thursday, January 26th, I think at 5:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
And I understand Short Sugars is providing a meal for that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do we need to RSVP to that, or where would we find out information about that? And is there a cost?
Okay. Yeah. So the answer is there is no cost. It is free, but we would like to RSVP because of planning purposes. So if you're interested in attending the free event, please call 336-649-3020,
Okay.
or you can email projectlostsheepnc@gmail.com.
Okay.
And so we're looking forward to everybody being there so we can help rescue children in the area.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Well, I will personally plan to be there and get some more information about this. I am shocked, and I'm interested in finding ways to help with this situation. So I appreciate all that you're doing in our community, George, and Project Lost Sheep, and the great work that obviously you're doing, but isn't really that public, I guess. But we certainly appreciate what you're doing, and trust that you can devour some more of that darkness. Again, we want to say thanks to Mike Moore Media for the space to do this important podcast and letting everyone become more aware about human trafficking right here in Rockingham County, and Project Lost Sheep, who are actually doing something about this plight on our society, and one of the community treasures and hidden gems in Rockingham County. Thank you.